At the time of making this video, I have been in Army for about 4.5 years. For 2 of those years, BTS has been on something of a hiatus, due in large part to their mandatory military service necessitating that they pause group activities. As the oldest brother of BTS, it fell on Kim Seokjin to take up this requirement first, and so began an extended period of waiting when he enlisted in early December 2022. Before his enlistment, however, Jin released a touching gift for Army entitled The Astronaut. There is so much about The Astronaut that's worth celebrating and analyzing, and the song has offered me and many armies a great deal of comfort during this period of time in which we've had to wait for Jin and the rest of BTS to return to us. In my experience, this period of waiting hasn't been easy. However, although it's very different, it's not the only period of waiting we've had to endure as armies, even just recently. I'm talking, of course, about the unintentional hiatus that BTS was forced to take throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. The world coming to a stop during that time was of course unavoidable, and while BTS was still releasing a great deal of content, there's no denying that their inability to tour or promote their albums caught them off guard. As a fan, it was hard to watch them struggle through this and to see the way it impacted them. Although these 2 periods of waiting, COVID and BTS's military service, are very different, I find it interesting that the song that came out right before Jin's enlistment and the BTS album that came out right before COVID, Map of the Soul 7, actually share a lot of similar themes. Although probably unintentional, there's a lot about the album that reminds me of The Astronaut and vice versa. Because the ideas and concepts found within the album are valuable, I love the idea that these important concepts can also be seen in something as poignant and special as Jin's song. The Astronaut is obviously deeply personal to Jin and very specific to him, but I think it's worth noting how much it actually fits into the rich tapestry left behind by the Map of the Soul era. In some ways, the concepts explored in The Astronaut make it like Jin's own personal map of the soul, an exploration of what makes him who he is and how he fits into the world. So today, in honor of our astronaut returning to us, I'd like to celebrate the song's music video and lyrics, analyzing its deep and special meaning. Then, I'd like to explore how the song continues the emotional stories first given to us in the Map of the Soul era, and how Jin interprets these themes through his own lens. From the idea of being a unique star to the idea of being a wanderer in search of a home, there's a lot in the Map of the Soul era that describes the feeling of being found in ourselves and in the people who believe in us, all of which are central to Jin's musical journey in this heartfelt track. So, I hope you'll join me today as we journey with The Astronaut and explore its cosmically relevant themes. The song and the music video. The Astronaut debuted on October 28, 2022, and, as I previously mentioned, was a gift to fans ahead of Jin's military enlistment, co-written by Jin himself and the members of English rock band Coldplay. In a Weavers Live, Jin discussed the process of receiving the song from Coldplay's Chris Martin and writing the Korean lyrics for it, thinking of Army as he did so. It's for these reasons that the underlying message of the song is very BTS and so uniquely Jin, an emotional, poignant, and beautiful look at his feelings for Army and how we helped make him who he is. The space theme wonderfully conveys Jin's true and deep love for Army, describing the heaven of being with the people who love and support him in a world where he otherwise feels like a drifting wanderer. I love that he never diverts from the imagery of being an astronaut wandering through space, and I think the theme perfectly suits his journey. Space is a big part of Coldplay's preferred imagery, and I believe it suits Jin as well, which I'll discuss a bit later when we get to his Map of the Soul 7 solo song, Moon, another track which explores the idea of space and cosmic love, with Jin as the moon and Army as the earth. Many critics have also pointed out these similarities and have praised the song for its themes. In a review for NME, Rianne Daly describes the song beautifully, referring to Jin's voice as glittering with gratitude and the song itself as Jin turning to the vastness of the great beyond to encapsulate the galactic scale of his feelings and to create a starry-eyed gem that sparkles with love. One of my favorite comments comes from Army and journalist Lanika Cruz, who stated the song, quote, conjures both bittersweet nostalgia and warm optimism, When the shimmering guitars and Jin's one-of-a-kind powerhouse vocals wash over me, I feel a strange sense of cosmic reassurance." End quote. It's a lovely sentiment, one which only becomes more meaningful when looking at the music video. The video portrays Jin as an alien astronaut who finds himself stranded on Earth after his spaceship crashes. With no ability to return to space, he has clearly resorted to living in a typical suburban town until the day when his ship is ready for him. But we can also see that a child has befriended the wayward astronaut, as is evident by the drawings he's placed on his wall. When he eventually departs for his now ready ship, we meet this child, a young girl on a bicycle to whom Jin gifts his astronaut's helmet, seemingly so she'll remember him when he's gone. From there, we realize that Jin's character is ignored by everyone he encounters except for this little girl. As he makes his way to his ship, he thinks about his time on Earth with the girl, remembering special moments such as playing with her, taking pictures with her, and even teaching her how to ride her bike. These memories have colored his time on Earth and have given him true happiness, to the point where he decides to stay, leaving his spaceship behind. He finally understands the lesson the girl was trying to teach him, that Earth could in fact be his home. With this lesson learned and the concept of family finally understood, the video ends with the stoic wanderer smiling as he goes out to greet the girl on her bicycle. To me, this message is so perfectly Jin, a way to convey his love for ARMY as well as his own personal journey as a wanderer in search of recognition and love. Just as the astronaut in the music video manages to find what he needs most when he makes a friend on Earth, Jin's beautiful message makes it clear that he, and BTS as a whole, have found that in us as fans. For this reason and many others, I feel like the astronaut continues BTS's rich tradition of similar motifs of love, acceptance, and mutual understanding, especially as portrayed through the raw emotion of the Map of the Soul era and deeply highlighted in 6 specific songs. The following songs and moments may or may not be intentionally related to one another, but I believe analyzing everything together can give us an even richer understanding and appreciation of the messages being delivered in each song and in the astronaut. Number 1. Microcosmos. Beginning with a song on Map of the Soul persona only, we have Microcosmos, a song about how every person is like a star. The obvious connection here is that both this song and the astronaut play with universe and cosmic images, as discussed before. In the astronaut, Jin clearly states that ARMY became his universe, and there is even a line about being like a star that doesn't shatter, which reminds me of the star themes in Microcosmos. But I think the similarities go beyond the obvious. The very phrase microcosmos is a portmanteau of microcosm and cosmos, hoping to convey that each person is unique, a cosmos in and of themselves. I feel this theme is very much present in the video for the astronaut, as we see 2 individuals connecting with one another on such a pure level. Number 2. Make it right. From the start, it's been clear that the theme of the astronaut is the notion of being a cosmic wanderer. The song's first verse says, "Like that asteroid drifting by without a destination, I too was just drifting along." And throughout the music video, Jin seems as if he is wandering endlessly, unseen and unnoticed by everyone except his friend. This theme of wandering fits the notion of Jin's stranded astronaut all too well, but there is also another song I can think of where the notion of wandering is writ large. "Across the desert and the seas, I wandered across the wide, wide world," says the first verse of BTS's Make It Right, a song entirely about the notion of being an outsider who is only recognized by a small number. This small number then acts as the guide for these lonely wanderers as they traverse the long road, as well as the light in their darkness, both of which are themes Jin explores in The Astronaut. In his lyrics, Jin mentions being on roads that are dark and describes you, ARMY, as being the only light found in the darkness, as is true of ARMY in the lyrics of Make It Right as well. Additionally, both The Astronaut and Make It Right center on the themes of being unwanted by the world at large. In the former, Jin's character is an outsider to Earth who is welcomed only by his young friend. In the latter, BTS are adamant in their belief that their fans alone recognized the me who wasn't invited, who wasn't welcome. I believe The Astronaut plays with this same theme and plays with the theme of what a home is as well, which leads me to the next song. Number 3, Home. Another song on Map of the Soul persona only, Home asserts that with you, again representing ARMY, is where BTS belongs, and that the place where you are is more than likely their home. Obviously, this notion permeates the music video for the Astronaut, in which Jin decides to make Earth his home, but I have a theory about how these two songs tie together beyond just this shared theme. During the video, the girl draws Jin a picture of a house sitting on top of the Earth with the caption, Home. On the face of it, this of course represents her hope that Jin's character will stay on Earth and make it a home for himself, but I can't help but wonder if it goes even deeper than that. In the song Home, there's a line that says, "The whole world is my home," and seeing the girl draw the house on top of the Earth for Jin, I can't help but be reminded of that line. While her drawing could represent staying on Earth, I'd like to think it can also mean that the whole world is now Jin's home. When we take that interpretation into account, maybe there's even more significance to the notion of home in the music video. Perhaps we can view his decision to stay behind as a message that says Kim Seokjin also belongs to the world at large. As a member of BTS, the whole world is his home now, much like his character learns to embrace the planet Earth. Number 4, On. On is Map of the Soul 7's title track, an anthem that declares the intention to face challenges and hardship. I've always felt that On's music video portrays the struggle of arriving in a new land only to find it harsh and unfeeling, and in a previous video, I discussed my belief that it could represent BTS's own collective struggles of facing hostility and closed-mindedness. Much like in Make It Right, they are uninvited and unwelcome. Again, this brings us back to the Astronaut, chiefly how Jin's character is ignored as he walks down the street, making his relationship with the little girl all the more special. Additionally, the notion of landing somewhere foreign comes back around here. Although Earth in the Astronaut isn't as overtly hostile as the place in On, the parallels are still there. But perhaps even more interesting is the fact that both music videos feature prominent child characters. In both videos, the girls seem to represent the idea of caring for and helping one another, even in the most uncertain of circumstances, which feels very genuine to the relationship between BTS and ARMY. Together, we welcome one another, all of us finding home with each other. Much like Jin's character and the little girl are probably the only two people who really understand and support one another, ARMY and BTS understand each other in a way that few others could ever match. Number 5. Moon. Of course, this whole discussion would be hollow without discussing Moon, Jin's solo on Map of the Soul 7. As mentioned earlier, Moon portrays Jin as being like the moon, while ARMY is the Earth, once again playing with the theme of Earth being a worthwhile and beautiful place. In addition to this parallel and the obvious space themes, there's some lyrical similarities as well. For instance, Moon asserts that all I see is you, which reminds me of the line, "When I'm with you, there's no one else," in The Astronaut. The Astronaut music video also portrays Jin's character feeling out of place, but despite this, the little girl keeps interacting with him and trying to make him happy. There is a verse in Moon that goes, "Even in the light of day, even in the dark of night, you stay by my side. Even when I'm sad, even when I'm hurt, you simply shine on me." The next line says, "Rather than saying anything, rather than thanking you, I will stay by your side. In the pitch black night, so that it becomes much brighter, I will stay by your side." When you consider that the video for The Astronaut features almost this exact thing happening, I think it ties the two songs together even more fully. Moon is entirely about the beautiful moon expressing love and admiration for the Earth, stating, "I wonder if you know how beautiful your existence is." And I would say The Astronaut is about the same. It's about realizing the beauty of Earth, or, in Jin's case, the beauty of connection with people who cherish him and the truth that this love is home. Number 6. We Are Bulletproof, the Eternal. The concept of being bulletproof conjures ideas about toughness and strength, as it did in BTS's early days. But in We Are Bulletproof, the Eternal, the band acknowledges the hardship they have been through alongside their fans, and being bulletproof becomes less a declaration of power and more about solidarity and hope. To that point, the animated music video for this track shows BTS progressing from their trainee days to the present, moving through scenes from their music videos and eventually ending up with a little purple light. When they touch the light, it multiplies to represent the purple light often present at BTS's concerts. Some ARMY on Twitter have drawn parallels between this scene and the part in The Astronaut where Jin is standing in the purple galaxy with the small light that becomes hundreds more at his touch. I think this interpretation makes a lot of sense. But as with all the songs I've discussed here, I also believe it can go deeper than just these similarities in the music video. Rather, I feel like The Astronaut as a whole could almost represent an answer to the fundamental question of We Are Bulletproof the Eternal. That question is represented in a line that, ironically enough, is sung by Jin. Tell me why you're still walking with us. In the song, the group acknowledges these struggles have been hard for them and for their fans, and to me, I feel like the relationship between Jin's character and the girl in The Astronaut perfectly represents why we're still walking with BTS. The Astronaut portrays a genuine connection that is unconventional but deeply worthwhile. Both characters seem to draw strength, joy, and purpose from this connection that they couldn't find in anyone else, and that, to me, is the story of BTS and ARMY. When you look at the genuineness that Jin's astronaut and his young friend represent, I think you have the answer to what the boys are wondering when they ask why we're still walking with them. At least as far as I'm concerned, I keep walking with them because, like that little girl, I will never find anyone quite like these cosmic wanderers who vastly improved my life when they crash-landed in it, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. In some ways, the Map of the Soul era is BTS's deepest and most personal era ever, containing their real stories and feelings. But for as many answers as it gives us, it also left many unanswered questions, ones we never got to answer as ARMYs due to the circumstances of a world put on pause. Fast forward to 4 years later, and despite many strange circumstances and hardships, we're all still walking together. Through The Astronaut, his own map of the soul, I believe Jin gives us language we can use to describe why. Rolling Stone's Christine Kwok says it best. The lyrics capture how BTS make their fans feel. Fans will surely be listening to Jin's strong vocals and heartfelt message in The Astronaut for years to come. Personally, I will forever be grateful for this moving song and the way it helped me get through these long months of Jin's absence. Now, as our worldwide handsome Jin comes back to us, I'm even more grateful for this song, and I'm holding it even more dearly. Jin has taught me to embrace the joys and beauties of the world without shame or worry, which feels like a fitting legacy for The Astronaut as well. Words cannot express how happy I am that our astronaut is coming back and how glad I am to be able to celebrate him in this song. Welcome home, Kim Seokjin. We've missed you. Now, let's continue this celebration and talk more about The Astronaut. What does the song mean to you? Has it helped you on your own journey? And what lessons have you learned from it? I'd love to hear your thoughts on the song and on Jin's return in general. Let's spread some positivity and show our astronaut some love. Happy Festa, ARMY. Until next time.